Hey everyone, Hans here, hope all of you are doing well. Today I'm gonna make a video on the evil in the world and its spread and how it is allowed to do so. And also a little bit about those who want to combat it, who want to do good and get in the way of evil destroying that good. When I speak of evil, I speak of anti-whiteism, of course, because anti-whiteism is just that. It's just a specific name, so you know what it targets. And you have anti-life in general. That is outside of specifically trying to hurt whites, Hyperboreans, Caucasians, Europeans, what have you, whatever you want to call us. Um, yeah, specifically, the anti-white specifically aim for that, but anti-life is just ruining nature in general and trying to in some perverse way try to warp even reality itself into something new, which is it's also madness, but it remains evil nonetheless. Just trying to destroy the beauty of the world in general, and then you have the animosities, of course, towards other races, uh, based on evil. What is the term? Um, well, just harm to all life on the planet. Let's go with that. You know, think of a company that poisons a river somewhere in, well, whether it's India or whether it's Africa or Europe, it all stays in the middle. That's just generally anti-life because it destroys, man, it destroys people in general, but also the fish, the fauna, the flora in general, all of that. Okay, I guess we can understand both terms then. Going from there, let's see, where shall I go on? There's so many topics in my mind at the same time right now. I suppose that, yeah, I'm gonna go into talking about the people who start nitpicking at those who defend themselves against evil. Uh, Nitpicking, getting all contrary, and even a little malicious themselves. Yeah, I think that's a nice, interesting place to go. So, there are the moral fakes. These people do not know what they want with their lives, or they just don't contemplate much about their actions. They're just doing whatever they're doing and let the world be the world around them. Live and let live, particularly if it's evil people. And overall, mm, are very self-centered in an unhealthy way. Egocentric, I suppose, is what you could call that. So you have the egocentrics, the moral fakes, the egocentrics. You have the passive evil people. They are not gonna go out of your way, out of their way. Pardon me. They're gonna go out of their way to ruin your day. But if the chance arises, you'll see the types. If have any of you been confronted with these types who told you to put on your mask or put it on right, or to get a vaccine and all of that stuff for a non-disclosed event from a while ago? Yeah, those types are like the passive evil ones. It's like they want to, like, they're pathetic, but they want to control others still, and any tiny petty way that they can do it, they go for it. And then there are also, let's see, moral fakes, the neutral, more neutral types that are evil. And then I guess just the regular nitpickers, contrary types who are just wrong-headed. An example of that, specific example that I have seen, is someone who got assaulted with a deadly weapon, and during that assault, the defender, the victim, I suppose, or the victimized person, let's go with that. The victimized person draws a deadly tool of self-defense of his own, and the attacker flees, runs away, and yet, the defender shoots. Now, the wrong-headed types would then start arguing that that is wrong because the attacker ran away, even though that attacker seconds, if seconds, like it could be like a tenth of a second, how quick it sometimes goes, was more than willing to do harm, came into that person's property with a deadly weapon, and then all of a sudden you have these contrary, wrong-headed types who start nitpicking that, oh, you shouldn't have shot and blah blah blah. And why is that wrong-headed, Hans? Oh well, let me explain it to you for those who might be wondering. You do not know what that attacker is gonna do next. What if it's some drugged up loony, which you cannot know for certain, but you can also not know if that person, that attacker, is sober. You just cannot know. All you know in that moment is you're being assaulted with a deadly weapon. That's it. And you might then even say, yeah, but he ran away. Yeah, but you do not know if that guy is gonna turn around or if he's trying to find cover somewhere to start blasting at you. You understand then? It's very simple. Such wrong-headed types can quickly be talked out of the room. I find it's not that difficult. They're usually just unintelligent. That's it, to put it politely. And all of these types in general contribute to a general sphere where evil is allowed to thrive and keep going. Oh, I forgot one more group, the cowards in general. Now, most moral fakes are, in a certain sense, cowardly, but and I say most because they're afraid to take a position. Yes, many have been taught to hate themselves and hate their own people. That is also part of the equation. But it doesn't. That to have never even questioned that you shouldn't hate yourself and shouldn't just hate people because they're of your bloodline. That also comes with a certain dose of cowardice. The cowardice of not questioning those authority figures in your life. Just tell them to go kick rocks, as that is apparently a favorite saying these days. So the cowards who just bend over and want to have their lives just run casually, 9 to 5, have a meal in the evening, sleep, eat breakfast, 9 to 5, have a meal in the evening, sleep, and so forth and so on, right? That is something, the addiction to convenience, as I called it before. Something that would get upset, a lot of convenience would get upset when you're, standing off against evil, because evil is not going to let itself be held to justice just like that. It's going to do everything it can to slither away and come back from another angle. It's just what it does. That's its nature as a force, if you will, as an energetic force, a necrotic force even. So bearing that in mind, all of these types contribute to a general sphere where evil is allowed to thrive and can grow more fat. It's kind of like Shelob in Lord of the Rings, or even her predecessor, Ungoliant, I suppose. Like the spider that eats from the trees of lives, and then the trees even are dead, but the creature just keeps devouring, and there is no satiation. There is just a darkness in there, like that necrotic energy, you might say, that just swallows and swallows and swallows, but somehow yet forever stays empty. Yeah, I know, me with my Tolkien references all the time, but they're just so awesome. What can I say? To continue from there, I guess. As evil then is allowed to spread and becomes more bold, you're gonna have far more confrontations of people who have to deal with it. That's just what it is. That's just how it goes. And as I said, For example, to put it in a more direct subject, for example, robberies are going to become far more common. Armed robberies, violent robberies, just greedy robberies, or where it's just about the money. With that, I mean, yeah, all in that sense is going to require people to either submit or to make a stand for themselves. Good will, in a certain sense, be forced to defend itself or be extinguished altogether. Luckily, good as a force has quite a lot of fight in it as well, but it wants to do things, well, with care. That makes sense. Empathy, right? And that's a good thing to have. I've had people reason that it is not. You are wrong. Empathy is an excellent trait, but you need to know who to give it to. And that is the thing. That's the trick. That's where it often goes wrong with self-hating people. They'll extend empathy to who they're told to give it to, not to those who have actually earned it. And to withdraw empathy, by the way, from those they've been told not to give it to, rather than just think about it themselves, who deserves it and who does not. Yeah, so with that said, all of these types, for example, to the ones who are victimized by these robbers, many good people, they will be taken off guard, as is usually the case when evil strikes. Evil does not come up in front of you, it comes from behind you, trying to whack you in the head when you're not looking. That's just how it is. And by extent of that, to be then confronted by it, as you're taken off guard, you're not in the right state of mind. You were totally busy with your phone or whatever, and suddenly, you have to give up all your possessions, that you worked hard for. You have to maybe fight for your life. That happens often enough. You just do not know what the criminal in question, the evil one in question, is going to do to you. You just never know for certain. And there come the nitpickers and the cowards and the moral fakes, telling you how bad you are for fighting off an evil dude in a way that is, as they would probably call it, from the comfort of their couch, uh, too aggressive, too much this or that and such and so. And that is not even to speak about all of the lack of self-defense laws in so many nations, even a lot of Western nations. Yeah, that is also something that can change, I think, or should change for the better. So good can serve itself. I mean, and that is also not to speak about all the corruption that also goes on, right? From institutions that are supposed to protect us from evil. Yeah, well, what do you do with such institutions if evil is infiltrated in there? Uh-oh, guess we have a problem then, don't we? Right. I guess that's sort of, and the reason why I bring it all up is, it's not to demoralize anyone, it's to create awareness. There is just no real conversation on this level about any of it. And at least in the white positive sphere, I want to see that more commonly. Casually even. This should be casually. Out of all the things I've said before, I think this very topic is the one that should be the most common. Because if you're in the white positive sphere, you should be here to do good and nothing else. You should be present not because you hate others, but because you love your own. There's a big difference there. And some might argue that you need to love your own, that is expressed by hatred for others. I personally disagree with that. You can love your own and be indifferent to others, and when those that you are indifferent to decide to become a threat to your own, you can still, deal with them accordingly without feeling any rage about it. Granted, some people, I've said it before, There are emotional communicators and there are logical communicators. I'm a logical guy, or more logical, you might say. And by extent, if some people need more emotion to deal with that, who am I to say that they do not? But I think from a clear way of thinking, as is one of the guys that I am, or one of the things that I am, I should say, you can be indifferent to those who want to hurt you. And that indifference gives you more emotional energy to deal with other things in life that are just as important as protecting your own. Maybe that is why there is those two differences, right? But yeah, with that said, if you're a part of the white positive sphere, and that means no more or no less than that you just want to do right by your own people, by your own bloodlines, and the bloodlines of your kinsmen, that you come in and you want to make a stand against evil and for your own, for good. That is why this conversation in the white positive sphere should be as common as fish in a pond, common as birds in the sky, and as common as hands in the trees, or around the trees at least. Yeah, I do not think I have much else to add to that in terms of the general aspect of it. I will revisit this topic as I revisit some others, because it is a huge topic in general. But we need to talk more about that, and I want the pathological types out of the white positive sphere myself. They have no business being there. They are there only to parasitize from a wounded people. And I would even go and I would say, if they have done evil already, hold them to justice. Don't let them just slink off like thieves with a bag full of gold or whatever it's going to be. Yeah, do it legally, of course. But when you can, don't let them just slink off with their ill deeds. If you've been had, which is what evil does with people as well, that is part of the taking off guard, then admit it to yourself, as surely as you have to admit that you might have mean pathogens in your mind. It is pure arrogance to say you do not, and that goes for me as well as for anyone else. Just to have that self-respect and say, you know what, I've really been foolish, but by acknowledging that I've been foolish, out of that foolishness I can grow. Being a fool is not an insult, not really. The fool that keeps persisting and repeats and repeats and repeats the same thing and it never gets anywhere, that's a different matter altogether. But most people, everyone is born a fool, I suppose. The foolishness has a lot to do with ignorance. Being a stubborn fool, that is a part of arrogance. I prefer the ignorant fool than the arrogant fool myself. Let's just put it like that. And the main reason to pursue this, to learn to recognize evil, to recognize good, and to drop evil as soon as you recognize what it is, and to support good wherever you see it, the moment, if you can, or when you can, the moment you recognize good, to support it, with all that you can support it with. That is when things are going to go forward all the quicker. I've seen things improve over the last year or two, and that is excellent, but it needs to go that extra step. Because the years are going by, guys. The years are truly going by. And I'm not sure about you, but personally, I want to live the years that I have in this life. How shall one put it? I want to live those years with less weight on my heart. Let's put it like that. And less weight on my shoulders and less weight on my mind. Yes, you should always have a little stress, and that's always going to be there. life just does that. We do not need to have predators circling around us and even wars among us. We really do not need that. We'll have enough challenges without them. Promise. Yeah. Thinking right now if I should go deeper into some details. I suppose having said that, and these are, you also might call them bold words, and I think they are. I have no issues with being bold when I think I have to be. How much happier would you also be, all of us, when all of that necrotic energy that evil people actually do push out of themselves, and that they, like, try to dump onto you. That is I've said it before, and there are many others who do so as well. Many many people who are like specialists or narcissists, etc. They dump their foul energy onto you, they take advantage of you, and then they flee away giggling and that sort of thing, while you are still dealing with all the emotional turmoil and just the feeling of disgust and all of that. We do not need types like that at all. At all. And we will all be happier for it, and our children might actually grow up, healthy, strong, self-respecting that much quicker than otherwise would as well, on top of just having better quality lives. There are some who claim that live a long and good life, sure, but it is unfortunately for some you have to choose between one and the two. You can have a long miserable life or a short good one. I want everyone to have a long and good life. Absolutely, I do. It's like my Miss World one-liner. But I truly mean that. I do want that. But you have to live life as if, if it's gonna be short, so be it. And that is, in a certain sense, a healthy approach, because that means that you're not gonna take any evildoers' nonsense, to put it in polite terms. You're not gonna give evil a chance that way. You're not gonna permit it to exist. And that is what we want, that is what we need, I would argue. Not only for it to submerge and remain hidden like a chameleon in our circles, but it actually just being gone. Anti-whiteism gone. Anti-life gone. There would be so much healing just from that, but it needs people who are willing to go there. And if we're not gonna do it, nothing is gonna get better. Or it's gonna go so ridiculously slow at such a pointless, long, tremendous cost. Why would we do it to ourselves? It is a communal effort, as much as it is an individual one. Coming back to a video I made once about hanging around with hyenas. If you personally can stay away from all the hyenas around you in human skin, that would be a big first step. And if from then on you recognize also just to find the noble hearted among us and do right by them and let them do right by you, because you deserve that as well. Improve each other's life's quality. A better tomorrow is there almost instantly, and not like some abstract a half a year from now, the next election, whenever we go to church or whenever we're going to the next political rally, or all of that nonsense, which has done nothing for us in the last half decade at least, since 2015, for example. Remember that? Remember what happened then to Europe, and shortly thereafter to the US. and shortly thereafter to other nations. Yeah. We're almost, it's not too long from a decade away from now. From then to now. Has doing all of that stuff really gotten us anywhere? Maybe a little bit. No. Maybe. Has been listening to these speaking heads everywhere done anything for us? No. I would argue not myself. Has to come from yourself. And it is still a communal effort, but you do not need any talking heads to lead you in the way, and you don't need uniforms, you don't even need flags. But you need to embrace your spirit and respect it. And respect your own people. The ones that earn it. Loving your own people also means that you will call it out when it does wrong. Right? Anti-whites will tell you that everything that... White anti-whites will tell you that our race can do nothing else but wrong. That is of course pathological. But we do actually make mistakes as well. And that also needs to be... And one of those mistakes is that we allow evil among us just because it is, for example, blue-eyed and blonde-haired. Unacceptable. Simply unacceptable. If you want to have a better tomorrow. As far as the detail of it all, yeah, I wanted to throw in some self-defense tips, etc., but it's not worth it. It's only this machine is going to give out any minute now. Can I perhaps do something else before it really runs out? No, I'm going to leave it for another time, or I might just even leave it for other venues altogether, other ventures that I'm going to go on to. But you'll all be warned in due time, or once it kicks off, I'll let everyone know. Please think about this, and all I can ask is, I've been living my life as best as I can towards that. I know others who are doing the same thing, and these are the ones who change lives for the better, themselves, their own included. If you have been working your way up to that, I can only applaud you. If you are also one of those, excellent, chef's kiss. If you still are in the dark on this, I really recommend that you make work of it. Being in the white positive sphere comes with a lot of homework, but it is worth it if you really pursue it. If you're not allowed to do it, well, unfortunately for you then, there's not going to be anyone standing next to you that you can trust. And at the first sign of true trouble, all the hyenas you surrounded yourself with, or if you are a hyena yourself, you're going to scurry off, they're going to scurry off, and you're going to be taken off by evil one by one. Those who stand together, who have been doing all the hard work, they have actually invested a lot of their time, their energy into something like it has value because they worked on it. They are part of it. They're not going to give that up. When evil comes for them, they're going to stand their ground and they're going to help each other out. That is what is required. And you do not do that with politics or organized religion or any other trash that we have been heeding for the last decade almost and has yielded us nothing. Can we at least close this decade trying this? It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to all of us individually. All else is just going to play out as the effort that everyone put into it. Bit of a heavy-handed video, but I care. I care, and I will say the most uncomfortable things if I think people need to hear them too. As certainly as I confront myself with them. And you know that I do, because otherwise how can I be talking about it? Alright, gonna bid you all a good day. Make this part of your life if you please, if you really care, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.